we are here at exactly 10 o'clock. So let me tell you what the backstory of this was. I've been making it a habit to try and come to do a stream early in the morning at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, like earlier periods in the morning, right? But today, I guess I should say rather yesterday, I woke up at 9 o'clock after going to sleep at almost 4. And I was very tired throughout the day, but I just couldn't, what's a good way of putting it? I couldn't will myself to go to sleep because I said mentioned before the place I'm at, it's hard to like just sleep when people are there all day long and they don't leave and they don't go anywhere and they're in like the same room. It's difficult to sleep in those circumstances. So I basically will myself into being awake for most of the day, and then it's approaching like almost 2 something, and I'm trying to go to sleep, and then um I finally start going to sleep because I start to think, okay, if I can't go to sleep and it starts being around like 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm just gonna wait until 5 and leave, and then go up here and start streaming from here. Um, because again, it's like at that point we might as well just do a sunrise service. But yeah, I managed to get up, and it was way later than I thought it would be, and I am irritated because I wanted to start at you know 8 or 9. I set my alarm for 9 so I could get here about 40 minutes earlier, but I went back to sleep like after turning it off, which is actually the second time that's happened. I don't know. I just we're already off to a bad start. But in the past, I've talked about how for me, I feel like a lot of the people I'm related to that I'm forced to be around because they either live in the same city or same house or same whatever. I feel as if a lot of them are not sympathetic. They're not very kind. They're not understanding. They try to say that I'm mean, but they themselves are really not exactly these outgoing, very kind, or nice individuals in any capacity. If you ask me, they might seem pleasant when you speak to them over the phone or when they're at their job, but as far as like when they're at their place, it's really just a show. I say actually that in many cases they're very nasty, toxic, annoying. Um, and I've spoken about the insanity, in my opinion, of having a job like a Monday through Friday 40-hour a week job, which is something that I want. Right, that's an ideal thing for me. Right, having a job that's going to keep you that has kept you on, that wants you to come in for 40 hours of week 40 hours of work every week. That again, that's like an ideal thing to me. But to this person, instead of working 40 hours a week, you'll be lucky if you see them go in for 25 or 30. um Missed 2 days of work last week. And then I go out there today, I see that their car is still parked there, and I start rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna be here all day long. I know the routine. They get up around 12 o'clock, and then they come out and start being annoying. And man, they love barking orders. They love telling somebody what to do. They love sticking their nose up in front of someone's face and trying to sniff around and figure out what's going on. Like I mentioned before that a lot of times I don't even like ordering stuff off of a place like Amazon. If I do order something off of Amazon, I try to order stuff I can send to a hub locker, because this person, if you get a box or a package there, what did you get? What did you order? And I'm just sitting there like, what why? Because my thing is, um and I've said before, I hate it when people have opened my mail. That's one of the things that has pissed me off more than anything else about living with other people. Sometimes they do it by accident, but even then it's like, depending on what I think you understand, where like sometimes you might get something for yourself online that you don't want someone you live with to see for whatever reason, because maybe again, some stuff is just private. Some stuff you get off the internet, you just it's sent to you, it should be mailed to you, and that should be the end of it. There shouldn't be some big contingent of people that know what's going, even people that live with you. It's not a thing that affects them. It should my point is already made. It's just something that I think should be there's like a basic right to privacy that someone who orders something online should have. Um, but they'll ask you, what's in there, what'd you get, what'd you buy, just really nosy, right? And then if you say, hey, can you stop asking me this? This doesn't affect you. Why are you so, like you call them out for being nosy? They go, oh, okay, whatever. I was just asking. They try to like play it off as if they're not being nosy, as if they're not invading your privacy. Um, and then they love barking orders. They love telling somebody what to do. And like my thing is, okay, if you want someone to clean a room or to clean a bathroom, maybe some stuff spills on the floor or on a cabinet or a table or whatever, I can understand those things, even if it's done to a degree that I personally like. I'm the kind of person where, at most, if there's like, if I make a mess or whatever, I'll clean it up. But as far as like getting out the dustpan and sweeping the floor over, and I don't have time for that. It's not, again, unless there's some very large abundance of dirt that is just in my way or something, you're not going to see me do it because I just don't, it's not something that bothers me enough usually to even get, go to that length. So again, if I make a mess in the immediate, um, or possibly have some kind of like really dirty thing, I might, I'll clean a mess, but like just going around with a dustpan and broom, I don't have time to do that just on a every couple of days or whatever. It's not that big of a deal to me. But again, I understand to some extent where someone would want to do it, whatever. I get it, right? It's not something I would do, but like, that's why I say I don't even like say anything when they do it. Well, my issue is comes from the fact that you have a person who it feels like every day of their life they just sit back scheming on finding ways to try and get you to do something or to otherwise make you be involved with the thing you're not interested in doing. Just for example, this person is basically at the house all day yesterday, except for maybe I'd say about an hour, 2 hours. And they send me a message. They say, "Go wash your car tomorrow. It looks awful. This other person would never have it dirty like." And I was thinking to myself, because I just want you to understand when you go and get your car washed, it costs money. Now, I've said before, I'm unemployed, so many of the things I get usually have to do with food or some other resource like gas. I don't have the money to just sit here and every time a car gets dirty, go out and spend 10, $20, however many it may be. My position has always been as long as this thing can get me from where I need to go to whatever other place, I do not care. Um, but it's just one of those things of like, hey, this doesn't affect you. Why are you so invested in its appearance? Like you're not driving this, you're not being spotted. I just think that's weird. I do. And again, it's something that I'm pushing back on for the fact that they're expecting me to shell out money to go and get something washed when in a couple of days or weeks it's going to be the exact same thing anyway. But that's what I talked about when I said they're very nosy because whatever state this car is in has nothing to do with them. They don't pay for its gas. They don't pay for its insurance. This vehicle is entirely independent of them, but they're still going to bark orders about it anyway, and try to tell you what to do with it anyway. And it's really annoying as well when you consider that, um, like, look at it from my perspective of this person has no idea what all stuff I do in a typical day or might have to do the next day. So they're going to say, hey, whatever you're already doing tomorrow, curtail that, or in between doing that, go and do this other thing that has nothing to do with me. Like, I find that very annoying. I find it very stupid. I find it very dumb. I find it to be a very obnoxious thing to tell someone to do something like that. And you're not, again, you're not affected by this. This has nothing to do with you. just thinking, imagine what I would look like if somebody else's car has dirt on it, and I'm like sending them messages demanding that they go and get it washed the next day. But see, they'll send something like that and be completely confused as to why you would think they're inconsiderate. They're themselves mean. They like to say that other people are, but they really are themselves. Um, I don't know. I'm always just thinking about how, whether we're talking about the employer stuff or just something related to it, it's always like a nice uh series of cause and effect. Like, not being hired by one of these stupid places causes you to have to live with these, let's just say, not too good relatives. Uh, and the effect of that is having someone who tries to like order you around on pretty much every single thing, including stuff that has nothing to do with them. Like, whatever way the car that they don't drive and have nothing to do with looks is should be completely irrelevant to them. But they have whatever. I was just thinking about how it's all just a nice, perfect stack of cards like tumbling down. I actually applied for 20 something places. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday on like the same site, and I got, I think, two emails back. Like, two places responded with emails, nowhere called me, and they all have my number. Um, and I was just thinking about how, like, man, that we really do live in this paradox where you'll drive around, you'll see now hiring signs, and then you'll see nothing but homeless people across the street. It's like, people really in their minds think it's easy to just start working somewhere. Like, you just snap your fingers and here's a job. It's really sad because it's like the people with that perspective, oftentimes they don't even have to look for work. Some of them have had the same job for 20 years, 30 years, and like they really convince themselves it's easy to just start at one of these places. It's sad because it goes back to that same lack of empathy where people just it, you know believe whatever, like, for their own bias. Yeah, this person's walking their dog over there. That's another funny thing. I just remembered that this character we're talking about, they always like to mention somebody needing to go out and exercise, and you shouldn't just drive everywhere. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I've never once seen you ever just go for a walk. Like, if you're not at work, and usually you just go from one room to the other in a building when you're there, you are in your room, laying down or sitting down or whatever for the rest of the day. Like, there is no exercise on your part at all, ever. That's why that line is funny to me. It would be like if you had someone who professed to be, let's say, a brain surgeon, and they're like telling new doctors, "Hey, you guys need to learn this, learn that," and then you look at them, you're like, "Wait, I've never seen you do a surgery ever." Those ambulances, man. But you get the point that, like, it's that whole thing of people, they're hypocrites where they want somebody else to do something that they themselves never do. Like, they literally told me, when, like, while I was homeless, to go up to some air, basically before they had their meltdown and tried to squeeze a bunch of money out of me. They were talking about like going up to this place to like pay memorial to somebody else, and out of nowhere, they sent me this message last month about, oh, go up to this place and put some flowers on it or so. And I'm thinking to myself, you really like don't understand what you've done. I'm homeless. There is no reason for me to take orders from you. So then when they asked me, did I do it last month, a few days ago, I'm like, no. What did you expect? If someone's homeless, you really think they're going to listen to you? That's a surprise to you that when you attempted to bark orders at them while they had nowhere to stay, they didn't listen? Why the hell would they? Give me a break. But yeah, like I said, I'm just tired of this whole thing with them. All they do is play their victim card of, oh, everything is so expensive and I'm struggling as I purposely miss work every like several days. Or they bark a bunch of orders, do this, do that, do this, even on stuff that has nothing to do with them, like washing a car. It's like, give me a break, man. Just And like I said, it's not even just that, but also there's no deadline for it. Like it's literally do this today. Like to hell with whatever other stuff you might have to do today. Go do this. That's why I said I'm just sick of them. People really have jobs that they just don't go to. They miss all they miss any amount of days that they can. It's really sad. I just couldn't imagine working anywhere, whether I've been there for 2 weeks or 2 years, and just being like, well, I'm going to take Monday off. I guess I'll take tomorrow off too. Next week, I'll take Wednesday off. And I guess I'll take Friday off. Like, what is that? It's really funny thinking about having relatives who into their like 70s were, um, going to work every day, right? Very, very rarely, if ever, missed any days. Like they were just constantly, again, they met their Some of them, maybe they don't work full time, like it'll be 4 days out of the week or something, but they still go each day that they're scheduled for. This person isn't even 50 and they act like I mean, if you listen to the amount of supposed health issues that they claim to have, and then you remember that like on the weekend and during the weekdays when they're there, they still feel healthy enough to like argue with somebody and scream at people over the phone. I mean, it's a joke, man. Because during the times where I've really been sick, I don't feel like doing anything. Like I'll just be laying in bed. You won't see me come up and go, "Oh, can you go do this? Why didn't you do that?" Like you'll actually see where I'm just out of stamina. I can't do it really much of anything. But with this person, they play that woe is me victim stuff of, oh, poor health, whatever. They're the sickest person in the world, but then they always feel healthy enough when they want to go and hang out with somebody to go and do that, or to like yell at someone or bark orders or do I'm talking about. Like it's just one of those things where it's harder to believe when you actually see the way that they act while they're supposedly so ill. And it's a real paradox to see people in their 40s act like they're dying, and they're constantly missing work just by choice, and then have a person in their 70s that goes every day. It's a real interesting paradox. Mm. Is that the ice cream truck at 10 in the morning? I've always wondered when people drive those things, like where do they put them during the day? Like I assume they have some kind of freezer inside the vehicle, but so I guess it just stays on overnight. I've gotten ice cream from the truck at least one time since this year started, because they had one that drove around where I was, and I had been very surprised with how expensive the stuff on that damn thing was. Like I asked for a shake and they're like, oh, $5. I'm like, I'm trying to not get ripped off today, so I'll get the double scoop, which was three. Yeah, the prices on this stuff are a little ridiculous. Oh, that I don't think it is. It must be some other truck. Is that it has some scribblings on it for some place didn't sound like it was. There usually they have like the pictures of the ice cream on the side. I think that was some other type of. It's one of those same like catering trucks, but it's for something else. I really couldn't imagine driving a truck. Like the way you have to turn and hope that no one's on the side of you and get smacked up. It's crazy. Yeah, people are really out here getting this coffee. 2, 3. They had on iTunes. I remember I was I love um Batman and Batman Beyond, so Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond. They were, but I didn't want to get Beyond on iTunes because it was like $70 for the complete, which I just thought was a ripoff for like 50 episodes. But they took it down to 20 something. I was like, oh yeah, let's get it. So I got that like last night, and then they had the animated series, which they used to have at 70. It was like 50, which for 100 something episodes is really good. So I got that too. The only thing that's lame about having a digital library is that if you don't know someone, like for example with me, I'm fairly charitable, so like I would like to link um the accounts of like other people with me so that we can share stuff or whatever. But the problem is they, we're not, they just don't really seem to have a vested interest in doing, like I'm noticing a lot of people don't even watch shows or movies anymore. They just kind of sit on YouTube or whatever all day long. Like it's not really, they're not really, they don't have a variety. Like sometimes I like YouTube and watching the stuff that's on here. I said before, it's been a very valuable site to me as a, not only as a content creator but as a viewer. But even then, it's like I like sometimes just sit down, watch a show I used to enjoy. Again, some attempt at variety. But yeah, when I saw those discounted prices, I was like, oh yes. Somebody came up here on a motorcycle. Trying to think what all I'm gonna get from the market. I guess like a few things of soup, probably a TV dinner. I don't know. I hadn't really been getting that stuff that much, but it still is just one of those things where I'm trying to hold on. There's some hope because there are some circumstances that might change between this month and next month that are mostly out of my control. Like I was told about it back in February or March, and we're getting around that period where it might change. But I don't know. It's been hard to hold out, man. It really has. And like I said, when you listen to these people talk, it's like they live in another reality. Like it's when they speak and they recount things and they like the details that they leave out and how they place themselves as these victims that you did something to. It's just what a joke. Yeah, sorry, I'm not obsessed with the appearance of a car. Like I'm worried about getting a job and if I can afford stuff. I don't have time to get concerned about every time it rains or oh a bird, took a you know what on the, like it just doesn't matter, man. Like People get caught up on so much stuff that is irrelevant. It's not important. It's not going to forward your life in any conceivable way. I've never heard of someone getting hired because, ooh, look how clean their car was. Just give me a break. But again, people can convince themselves of this nonsense, so I let them believe in their own garbage. I wouldn't even care about what they believe in if they didn't try to impose it on me. Like, okay, you're obsessed with the appearance of your car, good for you. But now you're gonna try to tell me that I should be as well, even though it's a fact that this is not going to forward or help me in any conceivable way. I even said at least when someone does like a obsession with the video, because some people will make a video and they'll purposely like it'll be done to just to mess with or upset a lot of people, right? At least if someone makes a video that you might think isn't good or whatever, and you could at least say, hey, if this gets enough views, people will watch them, people will discuss them, people will talk about them, and they'll get paid for it, and it'll have this actual positive effect on their life, even if it's not that much. So that's why I was saying, like, it's just really sad that we see grown adults and people who want to be taken seriously getting so focused on non-serious things. It's really pathetic. Like I said, I'm not even too shocked because I've seen people just get caught up on all this irrelevant stuff in the past. Yeah, I saw that somebody unsubscribed yesterday. I feel like just getting in a corner and shedding every tear until they all run out. That's really the funniest thing to me about like when we had that discussion on Saturday. I'm like, I'm I try to say I've been consistent, I've been the same, but there is one big difference between me from today and me from several years ago, which is that subs are of no longer a concern or desire of mine. The only thing that matters is views. Views, 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 views. Besides that, take the rest of it and throw it. As long as people watch, I'll be satisfied. If I go on and it says 0 new subscribers, but 300 new views, then that's it. We're not worried about anything else. So much irrelevant stuff, man. It's really sad. I did an experiment yesterday, but YouTube is confusing. But yeah, this site prides itself on being this very bizarre, strange, uh, unorthodox, weird thing that we all just kind of deal with so we can post content. It's really sad. The views went up. Oh yeah, because they can detect if it's all from the same source. Yeah, I don't I know of some of the like little tactics, but the thing is when you have like YouTube used to have videos with a bunch of views that were just random stuff people put up. When these music companies um well they don't count them from one device. So for example, If you were just watching the same thing on your phone over and over, and nobody else is, they're going to be like, "Hey, it's you by yourself that is boosting this thing," you know. But as I was saying, a lot of music videos have like billions of views because it's like the same several people replaying it over and over. So that's why it went from a bunch of random videos being the most viewed on the site to now it's like music and other types of stuff where people just throw their heads mindlessly to it. Yeah, I'm very disappointed in you. You built me up just to tear me down. I'm shaking my head. Yeah, they count them from one person. It just has to be from different devices and in coordination with other people. Like uh they if they know it's coming from 10 different places, they're not going to think, oh, it's all the same person. I already told you a lot of devious stuff happens on this site. Like people bought uh you know have botted subscribers. I'm not surprised they try to, if they don't bot views, they don't try to do something manipulative, something nefarious. Well, that's why I was so annoyed when that one guy, when I was doing the stream and I was talking about how you have all these channels where people have hundreds of thousands or 200,000, whatever number of subs, right? 6 digit subs, and they're on average only getting about a low 5 digit number in views. And this guy was talking about it's probably just bots. LOL. I'm like, dude, why would someone bot their subscribers, which they don't get paid for, but not their views? What sense would that make? Like I said, this site is really weird. They have rules that they pull out of there. You know what? It's just whatever to me. I remember back in the day when if enough people saw a video like really like fast, all in like a few hours, the video's views would get stuck at 300 something, and that would let the site determine if the person was if it was all coming from one source or from multiple sources. And then if it was all coming from one source, it would just be stuck at that number like indefinitely. It was really crazy. But yeah, it's whatever to me. I don't even care. I didn't even know you could get banned for commenting. That doesn't even make sense to me. I thought they wanted people to interact with their nonsense. Yeah, before you showed up, I was just talking about this annoying person that I stay with and how nosy they are and how they just bark orders. And it's really annoying when you consider that they don't even care if you have something you're doing. They just demand that you do this right now or in the immediate. It's really obnoxious. Like, oh, Aaron, today I want you to go and share my video on Twitter. Forget about what you have to do, what responsibilities you have besides this. Go and share it now. Like, just annoying, man. Like, why I said I really do hope for the day where I never have to see them again. It can't come soon enough. It's just too annoying. This whole thing is just so stupid to me. Like I really can't believe that you just get up today and it's like do this other thing that has nothing to do with me. I remember this one time they were talking about how I was someone who doesn't like to be told what to do and how if they tell me to like before you leave the house brush your teeth and wash your face. I said, "Listen, if I'm going for a job interview or to some like event, you know, where I'm like speaking or whatever, I can understand doing that, right? But if I'm just going to the market or running some quick air, who gives a damn? Like, come on." I'm just saying, some like some stuff I just don't. It really, you know what I'm talking about. You just don't need to put that much investment into appearance when you're not even really doing anything. You're just going to the market or going to put some gas in your car. Like, why do you need to do all this? Whatever, whatever. Like I said, people do stuff I don't understand. I'm not even gonna try to pretend. It's just it's weird. Housemate barking orders. Barking orders about stuff that has nothing to do with him. Barking orders about stuff that is just not important. I mean, whatever way you want to describe it, it's all just do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that. I'm like, God, just go away. So I said it's just annoying. So Aaron, forget about what you're doing today. Forget about whatever responsibilities you have. You will spend the entire day spreading my stuff around. You've now had the biggest order ever barked at you. Oh, you mentioned in the past that you had edited Wikipedia. I don't think I even got to tell you this, but they actually have been doing something really stupid for the past probably week or 2 weeks. Where has it been 2 weeks already? Wow. So on Wikipedia, usually when a major candidate for president runs, they get, and when I say major, I'm talking about people who register in polls, people who get news articles written about their campaign at various points. When someone like that runs for president, usually, right, usually they make a separate article for their campaign on day one. Like they just make the article, create it, might be a little stub right now, but as the campaign progresses, more stuff will get added. This has been the case for all of the major Democratic candidates. So that's Biden, RFK Jr., and Williamson. And it's the same thing with all the Republican candidates, except for maybe that's the one from Miami or whatever his name is, um, from Florida. Not DeSantis, not him, but this other one that just got in. So on Wikipedia, a couple of about a week or two ago, on every single candidate's page, uh, presidential campaigns article, with the exception of Biden, Trump, and DeSantis, every single one of them, right? On both sides, except for those three, this person nominates all of them for basically deletion and is like, hey, these articles are really small or they are not showing that the person is gathering enough attention to warrant having a separate article for their campaign. And I'd like for us to merge all of this back with the exception of possibly unmerging it if this person catches on. I'm like, dude, the campaign just started. Like, listen, um, I just want to, Aaron, if you ever have the spare time, if you go on WikiPiss, as I like to call it right now, and you look at Haley's article, for example, her article is bigger than every single candidate's page except for Trump and DeSantis. So her page is bigger than Biden's page, right? It's got more sources, more stuff on it. But for some reason, this guy decides it's not as notable as his. Like basically, the idea behind these nominations is that the articles are too small. They don't have that much stuff on them because the campaigns haven't proven notable enough. But Haley, if you remember, she's been running for 4 months and she's had a CNN town hall. She's, done various campaign events that have been covered by the news, whether it's local news or larger sources. So, there's plenty of sources about her that have been added to that article, which is why it's the like third biggest of any candidate running on either side, and they still nominated to have it merged back into her regular page. And literally, the notability thing used to drive me nuts. Dude, they nominated Pence's article for merging into his main article after his campaign had only been active for like 3 days or 4 days. And it's like, what do you expect to be on that page if the person has literally been running for less than a week? Like, this is absolutely insane. And guess what? Because WikiPiss is filled with these crazy people, this idea actually gained traction. Like Williamson's article, it's like a 50-50 of keep and split. Some people are saying keep it, others are saying split it, or merge it rather, merge it back in her main page. And I'm just thinking to myself, God, we have 6 more full months before any voting takes place. We possibly have debates that are going to come. We don't know for sure if they're going to happen or not, but still. I mean, this is nuts. Like, how do you even get to a point where, you just, it's weird, man. Dude, the RFK Jr. fans are the funniest people, man. They really are. Like, I tried to be nice and say, hey, he should be debated. He should be involved, included, whatever, because I am a person who believes in fairness. Uh, but it's just kind of funny. It's like, he's doing better than Williamson. She should drop out. I'm like, she's literally, the race isn't even halfway done. And you guys are just like, yeah, don't even bother. It's so sad, man. Like, yeah, she doesn't attract as much media attention because she doesn't have a famous name. Like, I bet if I ran for president after never holding public office, and my dad had been not just senator but attorney general, and one of my uncles had been president, and the other uncle had been one of the longest serving senators ever, I'd probably be getting covered too. It's just so funny. They really make it sound like she's getting covered less because she's not as notable. And that's like the Twilight Zone paradox of this election cycle. Like RFK Jr. and Williamson have had a combined almost 30% of Democratic voters. And like they're both polling higher than most of the Republicans, right? But like CNN will host a town hall with someone like Haley or Ramaswamy or Christie or all these people who are in the Republican primary are polling at less than 5%. But then Williamson, who's constantly at some like larger single digit number, even a double digit number, it's like they won't do anything with her. They ignore her. They act like she doesn't exist. So I said the CNN really is the Clinton News Network. They will sit there and bootlick for the incumbent Democratic president no matter what. That's sad. I still think his polling results are mainly just the fact that there's a lot of people who don't want Biden, myself included, but then like they also don't know who Williamson is. So it's like the two things are kind of playing there together where it's like he's got the perfect storm of name recognition and people that are just dissatisfied with the incumbent. I really was tempted to make like a whole video like I remember when the what's that stupid channel um when the Majority Report made the video trashing Williamson. I really want to do that with RFK Jr. and just be like, look, this is a guy who people only know who he is because of what the previous generation did. That's it. I wonder how the polls are conducted too. They probably call people and they might say the candidates' names, but they don't really explain anything. That's my theory. But like I said, I just don't believe that um his like numbers are as big as they are. I don't really believe there's like a fifth of Democrat voters who are just like, yeah, I can't wait to vote for him. You can call me a conspiracy theorist, even though I'm not doubting the polls that they took are like a thing they found. I'm just saying that I think when you actually start seeing people have to vote, they're gonna be different, or they're not going to vote as they make it seem so far. Also, Aaron, I know that you were thinking of unsubscribing because you found that I donated $2 to Larry Elder so he could qualify for the Republican debates. Go ahead. You won't see me shed a tear. Like I said, I don't mind. Like I've never been someone who's just for one party, but also with it in the case of him, that was literally just so he could be on the debate stage because that whole requirement of you need 40,000 unique people and they have to be from 20 something different state that's nuts. What it should be is you need to have this many number of different people donate to you, and that's it. There shouldn't be anything about polling at 3%, but whatever. Now I can already see you clicking the button. I mean, I gave Williamson way more, so I can count all the people I donated to on one hand. Like I on the Democratic side, it's just her. I'm not giving any to Biden or RFK Jr. Um, and on the Republican side, it's literally just Haley and Elder. That's it. And then maybe I might consider giving some to Scott too because I want him to. He's the only sitting senator running for president this cycle, which is really crazy to think about. Like go back to the 2016 and 20 cycles. You had like 4 or 5 senators running both times. This time it's only one. That's crazy. But what it is that all the ambitious ones are all waiting their turn. Like I could just picture like Cruz and Rubio and Rand and who else? Who else is in? What's his name? Cotton from Arkansas. I could just picture them sitting together. Like, look, we want to run, but that we gotta let the old man get beat one more time before we can do it. You owe me over not just because of Williams, but also your sense of humor and your perceptions about men's fashion, what it means in our society. Well, yeah, men's fashion is very restrictive. I mean, I told you, you can go outside any day of the week and you can find women in all types of varieties of attire. And men, it's like literally just a t-shirt or a collared shirt and then some, you know, dark colored pants or maybe some jeans or something. It's very little. Dude, like it's so restrictive that we even have colors we won't wear. Like I don't even know any men that wear pink, like at all in real life, or purple. Well, I knew one person with a purple shirt, but still. Decorations must be numeric. My favorite thing is when they said, like when I was going to that town hall, come in professional attire. Not town hall, to that job fair. I'm like, are you serious? Like, if they act like you're gonna get hired on the spot, they might have you fill out some applications. But as far as, oh, go in there and look this way, I really have to wear a suit and tie just to go in. Like, it's stupid. And people are obsessed with this damn coffee. I tell you. Oh, that line is backed up. Mm. Oh man. It would actually be so much easier to wash the car if they weren't there today. Like, to go and get a towel, or what do you call it? A rag, and just clean it off. Like, it would be so much easier to do that if they weren't there today. I'm not even saying it to be funny. Like, they actually made it to where I'll just say I'll go tomorrow. I got stuff to do today or something. And if they get mad, oh well. Too bad. They have 8 cars in line. And it's 8 cars in line on a Monday at 10 in the morning. You would think people would be at work, but I guess not. Like, this isn't even during the lunch hour, where somebody might go and grab some lunch. And somebody came up here for their mobile pickup. I just couldn't imagine getting stuff from here daily or really regularly at all. Like, maybe if I want to treat myself, I'll do that, but not as things stand. My favorite thing about Secular Talk was him taking his like new background and putting Williamson's book behind him. I'm like, man, I bet a lot of money that he has either not read that book at all, or not read the whole thing. For as little as people actually read nowadays, I don't believe he's read that thing in the slightest. No way. Mm, I don't buy that at all. There's a lot of stuff that people do that I just think is weird. We get what I'm saying about how, like, I just don't believe he's actually read that book. I think he has that there to show his support for Williamson, which is like, whatever, fine. But if you actually sit him down and go, hey, so what'd you like about the book? Oh, because nobody in his comment section or his super chats ever ask, um, have you read her books or whatever? Because I'll freely admit to you, I haven't. Um, and again, that I'm not in any rush to, because there's a lot of stuff I'm currently reading. Oh, like this, for example, about LBJ. Yeah, but it's like, I'll be honest with you. I'll say, look, there's a lot of stuff I'm reading right now, and I just haven't gotten around to it. Maybe I will if I finish some of these other things, but I have a lot of books that I haven't even read yet, or read the entirety of. Like, I'm still reading through Condoleezza Rice's 700 page memoir on her time as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. People must think I've read her because I'm woo, but I discovered her through politics. Yeah, a lot of people have. there's a lot of people who never knew who she was until like I didn't watch Oprah when I was a kid, so I wouldn't have known her through that. Um, I'd say it's a lot better than Bush's memoir on his tenure as president because it feels a lot more narratively cohesive, and she describes issues more so by the event itself versus like, hey, this happened in early 2003 and then that happened. It's got like I feel more her writing style is really impressive, just the way she describes stuff and kind of gets you in the headspace these people where she's talking about how like after 9/11 they were very scared that there would be a second attack. It was all uncharted territory. Oh yeah, Rice is one of the I think one of the smartest people that's ever been involved in politics, certainly in the modern era. Like I can like reading her writing style and just kind of like watching her speak, I can completely understand why they had the draft Condi movement from I think it was like 2008 where they were trying to get her to run for um I think be McCain's vice presidential candidate. And also apparently during the 2016 cycle after that nasty tape of Trump came out, the old one at Access Hollywood sat on until the month before the election with the you know what I'm talking about. We all know it. Um, they apparently the RNC chair Reince Priebus considered trying to get Trump to get off the top of the ticket and have Pence replace him, and then have Rice as the VP, which would have been really wild. I'm not even joking. If they had played their cards right and kind of like toned down Pence a lot on those social issues. Well, no, in that instance, she agreed to doing it. She was like, "All right, I'll be Pence's VP." But they couldn't get Trump to step down, so that idea fell through. But you got to remember when that tape came out, it was like a big, huge scandal. Like all the Republicans were um, telling Trump, you're a disgrace. I'm disgusted with you. These comments are horrible because they've never really been put in a scenario like that by anyone they've had as their nominee. At least not in modern times, as far as I can think back. Like, I know Romney had the 47% thing, but that still is very mundane and like normal. Well, it's not with Pence. It's not even like. Listen, I don't like him at all. I said before he's worse than Trump. I think that um he like Roe v. Wade got overturned, right? Because of the three conservative justices. If Pence really got his way, because like they talk about like a national abortion ban, they would ban it to where you couldn't even like take a pill or anything. You would just be forced to carry babies to. He's got some really archaic and just this dystopian despot views. That's all I can say about the man. I don't like him at all. I thought Trump was really stupid for picking him as VP. I think he could, if he had picked some more, at least pretending to be moderate person, he would have done a hell of a lot better, in my opinion. But he has like this whole thing about loyalty, which is why he wouldn't pick somebody like Cruz, um, even though Cruz was the runner-up to his in that 2016 primary. So he picked this kind of like somewhat up and coming, but not really governor from a fairly strong Republican state, and he's bad. Like I'm not even joking. If Pence took the oath of office and became president, you would be transported from the 2020s to it wouldn't even be like the 1910s or anything. It'd be some kind of like so like you, oh man, I don't even want to imagine it. That's scary. He is the worst. Like you have Haley saying stupid stuff about mental competency tests and term limits, and then Ramaswamy talking about raising the voting age to 20. Just like dumb stuff, right? But they know those things are have no chance of passing because they know they're not going to change the Constitution. They're not going to have enough votes for it. Well, I'd say Pence is even worse than DeSantis because we really don't know DeSantis's foreign policy views. Like we don't know if he's a pro war guy, kind of like in the libertarian direction. Because when he was in the House, it was only for what 3 terms, and he really didn't make a name for himself. He just has some votes that you, I'm sure somebody else can go and research and find out more about. Like most of his creepiness just comes from this whole woke battle nonsense that he's been waging for the last couple of years. In the case of Pence, you've got a guy who is a hawk on war, who's got backward social views as well. So he's like completely irredeemable. Like I said, there are plenty of Republicans I like and I would vote for. If Rand Paul was the Democratic nominee against Biden, I would vote for Rand. Rand is anti-war on drugs. He's anti-war, has a very strong record of being opposed to it, even when it's been a president of his own party. And even like a lot of the social spending stuff of him wanting to like cut, the different programs or whatever. If we have a Democratic majority in the House and Senate, he can't do a damn thing. So, that's why I said Rand to me is probably of any of the Republicans that might actually run again the best one, as far as like the only one where I'm like, okay, if this person runs a certain way and they talk about certain issues in a certain capacity, I like just he could sway me. But a lot of those other ones, no. Dude, Pence is as extreme as it gets. He's just not as loud or as bombastic as Trump, so he can like manipulate and trick people into thinking he's this cool, calm, regular guy, who's not emotive. But in all seriousness, he is just as bad as Trump, if not worse. Look, he's really obnoxious to me because I feel like he's one of these people who knows they can't win, but he tries to sell it anyway. Oh, at this point in the election in 2016, Trump was only polling at this percent. I'm like, dude, you don't have anywhere near the name recognition that he did. No, like that voting age thing. I hope you understand, Aaron. The voting age in America used to be 21, and it got dropped down with the I'm forgetting the number of the amendment, but it was during Nixon's tenure. It was like I believe it was 1971. But my point is he wants to raise it to the highest it's ever been for the real purpose of discriminating against young voters because they don't support Republicans, right? They don't. Younger voters tend to not support conservative candidates, whatever. So they want to like ruin that voting block or screw them up so that Democrats have harder times winning elections because one of their constituencies no longer can vote thanks to this new stupid alteration. And then you want to try and force people to participate in stuff that they don't want to do. That goes be like I know people who work jobs say, "Oh, I don't even like my job," but it's like you want people to sign up for service in a military that is involved at a time when the United States is involved in what 5 wars? Are you serious? I said before, if they ever tried to draft me, I would disappear. I don't care who calls me unpatriotic. I'm not dying in a banana war for a country that has shown it doesn't care about me. So you can get mad if you want. I have nothing but respect for draft dodgers. You value your own life, and again, I don't I've never had anything bad to say about them. The draft is scary. Not as scary as it used to be, but it still is something I'd be afraid of, you know. Like I said, I don't want to die. You had this one conservative woman, I forgot her name, she's a commentator. She said they should bring back the draft to wake millennials up. And I'm like, Bimbo, you're a woman. Like you're a woman who, if the draft was brought back, first of all, be too old to serve, but secondly, they wouldn't even go after you because of your gender. So you're basically saying, "Hey, young men, you're so lousy. Let me sign you back up for this thing where you can get killed." That would be like if like what's a good example? They always talk about how men have no right to say anything about abortion rights because they don't have, the triangle. It's like, well, okay, by that logic, then women shouldn't have any rights to say anything about the draft because they're not going to have to serve one way or the other. That's why I said I'm tired of this whole I call it, remember the triangle scam. I'm tired of everything being geared towards females. They get all these deferments and special treatment. I'm sick of it. Like, Aaron, you understand that the idea behind sparing the woman is, oh, she can go and reproduce and create the next generation. It's like a lot of these chicks don't even want to get married, let alone have kids. And if they do have kids, it's with some man that they're not even with anymore by the time the kid is born. So if anything, they're destroying families, not making them. But that's who you want to protect and defend and make sure it's taken care of. Man, give me a break. Like I said, I believe in self-preservation. And one of the things that comes along with that belief is that you shouldn't allow yourself to be put in situations where you can get killed or otherwise badly injured. Because you have people who went to Vietnam and other wars, and they lost arms and legs. I mean, it's just these conflicts are nothing to play with. So yeah, people can get mad if they want, but I'm not dying in a banana war for America, the land where no one gives a damn. Like I told you, when I go down the street and I see those homeless people, and I think about how 27% of the homeless are veterans, it's like you have to understand, Aaron, that less than 1% of all Americans are in the military, like active service. So that means that when you join the military and you're a male, your chances of like coming out of it and becoming homeless go up by a quarter, but like by over a quarter. Not to mention their minds from having to shoot child soldiers. Oh yes, war damages people in every way, bodily, physically, mentally. I mean, like every type of manner you can think of. There's some kind of effect it has on people that actually have to go out and be deployed to places. Like if they survive, they are oftentimes very screwed up. That's why I said people are just. I'm telling you, you think I'm playing? That whole draft thing and serving in the military. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to be in the Navy because I like the idea of being on a boat and swimming and all the. But even though I couldn't swim and still can't, um, but truthfully speaking, when I just kind of sat back and just saw how poorly veterans are treated when they come back to the US, and then kind of thought about how you never really have anyone like act like people. They in general, they try to entice. They say, oh, if you're a veteran, you get benefits from this program, and you also get. It's like, yeah, but we still don't care about them. They don't matter. Like if they die, they get praised in this really generic way of, oh, thank you for your service and all of our fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice, just little generic sayings, right? And then if they live, they come back to the US and have a 27% increased chance of being homeless. So yeah, being a veteran in America isn't worth anything. The veterans are people that are worth respecting and treating well, but we don't. And that's why I have no desire to count myself among them. It's not about thinking I'm better than they are. Far from it. It's thinking that they get treated too badly for me to be enticed to put myself in the same situation. Like, it's really crazy here in Thailand. It's like a lifelong job. Oh man. I didn't even know you were in Thailand. So now we know what country you're in. So we're going to be sending you, was it newsletters like, hey, make sure you promote this video this month. You spam the link 50 times over. I live in the U.S. and I really liked Jeremy Corbyn, the UK Labour Party leader. I remember when he lost, all those idiots on TV. This is what will happen to Sanders if you run him against Trump. I'm like, oh, shut up. Ramaswamy actually compared himself to Reagan on I think it was on Fox Sunday yesterday. He was like, Reagan won a landslide of 44 states in 1980. And I'm like, dude, that you have no leg to stand on. Like, the US is not as conservative as it was 40 years ago. It just isn't. But secondly, like, Reagan in 80 was someone who won that primary after almost beating an incumbent president. So even if Ramaswamy is somehow able to trounce Trump, which I don't think he has a snowball's chance in hell of doing, but even if he were able to somehow do it, he still is not guaranteed because he's never ran for office before. So never ran for office before. So we still don't know what nominating him would even look like. I keep offering to trade Trudeo for Williamson, but no one wants him. Well, isn't he another one of those legacy heads of state where his daddy had it before he did, so he got it from him? I'm not even joking. The last American dynasty that made it to the presidency that was actually good was the Adams, because John Adams and his son Quincy Adams were among the first. They were out of the first 6 presidents, they were the only 2 that didn't own slaves. So after that, like I've said before, I like the older Bush because he was a moderate on a lot of issues. He actually did believe in climate change, and at one point banned semi-automatic rifles, which earned him the scorn and the lack of endorsement of the NRA when he ran for re-election. He stood up for or rather called out Israel when they had their illegal settlements rather. So there was plenty of stuff about him that that appealed to me. And certainly the Gulf War, the first one back in 1990, was nowhere near as awful or as long lasting as any of the things that his son and the successors after that have had us involved in. So yeah, the older Bush is I think a very underrated president, but his son is terrible in every way. God, that people play music so loud you can hear it through your windows, their windows. That's crazy. I think my biggest fear is always like getting demonetized because somebody pulls up playing copyrighted music, which they love doing. And it's so weird because like they'll pull up and they'll just sit in the car. Like, Whatever. Oh, I'm already kicking myself for going over an hour. I was getting ready to leave before you even came on here. I was like, forget it. People aren't showing up today. I guess they want to watch the replay instead. God, man. It'll be interesting just seeing how long he sits in that car with the music blasting. It's already been a minute. We'll see. We'll see how much longer it is. The problem with our environment is not pollution; it's impulses, it's impurities in our air and water. Oh yeah, in Rice's memoir, she does talk about the climate alarmist. That's really funny. Where like if you show concern for your environment and pollution, which all very obviously has an effect on people, right? Like when you smoke around someone, you shouldn't you know like do that, or because they can mess up their lungs too, or talking about like we know that there are substances that are man-made and created by people that can mess up someone else's lungs, their heart, give them whatever type of illness. And it's like even with people knowing that, we still have people that reject the scientific consensus on climate change. They just don't believe it. Like Bush already wasn't that good on the environment, Bush 43, but like Trump even managed to get worse. It's really sad. Just a bunch of deniers. They don't believe in anything other than tax cuts for the rich and cutting social programs that help people and wars that go on forever. Man, I don't even know what to say about them. They need to just if you have environmental issues you want addressed, expect the Democrats to do nothing about it or very little about it, and expect the Republicans not even entertain the idea. Still sitting in there. That's 3 minutes now. I noticed that people really do like sitting in their cars. Like that's a thing I'm starting to pick up on more. But I want to ask you, like, I'm seeing so many cars up here on a Monday morning, like not during the lunch hour, right? So I'm like, where do these people just not have jobs? I see like 6 cars. I see a couple parked. I see a guy standing outside. I see these women that are like sitting together. I'm like, wow, there must be more unemployed people than I thought. You could say, oh, maybe it's their day off. Like, no, if I come up here and on Saturday it's people showing up, I don't even think about it because it's like, yeah, it's the weekend. But if it's a Monday, um, it is weird. That seems more like a Sunday. Yeah, it does. But I'm saying like it's not even a few cars. Like, hey, there are some people during the day that maybe they're not working, whatever. It's a bunch of them. It's like it was like 7 or 8 that were all lined up together. That's why I said if I want to get anything from here ever, I'll go early in the morning where there's no line. It's very weird. It is funny listening to Haley and she's like, I polled at 3% before. I'm like, lady, the Republicans will have never nominated a woman for president in the past. And I don't believe they will nominate a woman for president at any point for the next 30 years. I'll use that number. I don't believe it. I do feel bad for her because I said this before. Between Trump, DeSantis, and her, I think she would give Biden the hardest time in the general election. I do believe that. I think if she went around and she campaigned as someone who was very much concerned about the debt and wanted to find a way to create maybe some new program that can accommodate people who are like screwed over by this issue or whatever, just like basically try to like concern troll about his age and different fiscal issues. I think she could win. Yeah, she's awkward only in the sense that she's a woman running in a mostly male dominated party, like who also is trying to project strength but then really can't do it. I tell you that like the biggest problem, no, a lot of Native Americans are Democrats. Really every minority group is mostly Democrats, and the only group of that's like got any significant numbers with the Republicans is probably Hispanics, like, and that's mainly Cubans. Like Cubans in, I'd say, the southern part of the US tend to be more conservative leaning than other members of the Hispanic community. But no, they're I mean, what that's a big part of the reason why Texas is going purple and blue, because it's like more and more younger Hispanics are getting old enough to vote, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to have right wing office holders my whole life. Forget that. Texas is going back to the LBJ days, and I'm here for it. Dude, if the Republicans lose Texas, it is over. They're never winning another presidential election again. Like they can have Florida if it means the Democrats get Texas and Georgia and possibly even Arizona. Like I still can't believe Trump lost Arizona. Dude, like Aaron, you might not be into statewide politics as much as I am, but Arizona is bastion to several conservative icons like Barry Goldwater, McCain, Udall. Like I still can't believe that he really lost that red state. Arizona is so damn red that it's only voted for the Democrat in a presidential election twice in the last 70 years before Biden. Truman won it, I think, yeah, in 48, and Clinton won it, I believe, in 96. Other than that, it's always gone for the Republicans, just like Indiana. And Trump lost it. And the Republicans are losing that state. Arizona has a Democratic senator and a Democratic governor. And well, they had two Democrats and one of them decided to be an independent. But you get my point that it's like Democrats are taking it over. Same thing with Georgia. Georgia was like the one southern state where it was like it was red, but it was never as red as somewhere like Alabama, for example, where it's just like 60-30 Republican and Democrat. Georgia has two Democratic senators, and it's got a Republican governor, sure, but he barely won the first time and still didn't really do that great. He improved his margin against Abrams the second time, but still, like, you know what I'm saying? It was fairly close. So Georgia, if Georgia doesn't turn into a full-on blue state, it's going to be a purple one for a while. Because Georgia wasn't voting for Democrats either. Like it voted for Clinton and Carter before Biden, and that was pretty much it. Dude, I'm telling you, the Republicans they're in for a rude awakening. A lot of minority and younger voters are waking up and they're getting involved, and these margins are getting tinier and tinier. Like Cruz almost lost his reelection to O'Rourke in 2018. Like he won by 2 points in literally one of the biggest reddest states in America. He almost lost. He won by 2 points in his own backyard. He should be sweating bullets at the idea of having to run for another term. When O'Rourke ran against Cruz, he received the largest number of votes for a Democrat ever cast in Texas. He got more votes for senator than Hillary got for president. Now, see, if O'Rourke was smart, he would have just like, okay, been to the side, whatever, maybe go on TV a little bit. But instead, he wanted to run for president for no reason and got smashed there as well. And he became a two-time loser. Like, I'll never understand the logic of running for statewide office and losing and then trying to run for president. I think that's really weird. Because Elder's trying to do that right now. He ran for California governor and lost in that recall, and then like I guess I'll run for president. No, the South is going through some changes. Like, it's not all turning blue, it's not all shifting at once, but if you really think about the South, it is bluer than people give it credit for. Like, Georgia, for all intents purposes, is going purple again with two Democratic senators. Texas is on the cusp of like going purple because the Republicans are winning by smaller margins than they've done in like the past 20 years. Like, the last time a Democrat was governor over there was before I was it before I was born? I think so. Yeah, 94. Uh with Ann Richards losing to the younger Bush, and she was actually a really nice lady. So it was he beat someone that was actually pretty good. But besides those two states, Louisiana is another one where people don't talk about Louisiana, but Louisiana is, for all intensive purposes, only red leaning because there's a lot of poor people that live in Louisiana, like in New Orleans, and they don't vote as much as we wish they would. But because of that, Republicans' margin is only like 10% or lower, which is why the senator from Louisiana, Bill Cassidy, he tried to work with Bernie on some kind of pharmaceutical legislation against like most of the other members of his own party because his state has a lot of poor people. So yeah, Louisiana is one of them, Texas, Georgia, and like really the only ones that are just full on red, like you're not going to see a Democrat there for a long time, are probably just Tennessee and Alabama. Like, you know, again, I have to probably go and look into Missouri and Mississippi, but I don't. Okay, maybe Mississippi too. I'll put that in there as well. I find this discussion really interesting because it shows you that there even the most reddest of states are not that red. So it's just like when Democrats tell you about, oh, we don't have enough seats in the House or something, like you guys do that to yourself. Like you choose to have, like, literally the state Democratic Party in Alabama is so trash that in 2014 they didn't even run a candidate for Senate. Sessions won the vote with like 98%. He didn't, like, nobody even challenged him. And that's the party that I'm supposed to root for and want to win elect. Man, they didn't even try. They literally didn't even try. And we're supposed to be on their side and hoping that they conquer all. Man, come on. Imagine me wanting to run for office and I don't even like I don't go around getting ballot signatures. I don't campaign. I just sit in my house and I'm like, I can't believe I lost the landslide. Like, yeah, you didn't even try. So yeah, the state Alabama, the Alabama Democratic Party is a joke. The Arkansas Democratic Party is goofy too. Um, I have to look at some other ones, but in general, a lot of these state parties are not that great, and that's why the Democrats get smashed in places where they really shouldn't be getting smashed. Like, at this point, they should be competitive in like 4 or 5 states that they're just getting walloped in. Like I said, I don't have any kind of delusions of grandeur. Like Oklahoma is a red state. Idaho is a red state. Same thing with Missouri, same thing with Mississippi, but there are states that lean red that if enough Democrats registered to vote or showed up to vote could actually swing. They just don't do it yet. I also think organic campaigning is so important. These campaign launch videos annoy me when they do it without a public speech. Yeah, that's really obnoxious. And I also want to say, um, when I started contemplating wanting to run for the House against the Congresswoman of that district I was living in up until, like that district I mentioned before, I wanted to run against her because this person, like living there, right, the area where where people vote for them in, right. I never once saw them campaign. I never once saw a single flyer. I never once saw a single advertisement. They just got this job because all of the big wig politicians endorsed them. Not because they earned it or they went out and campaigned vigorously. They didn't do anything. They just sat at home. And look, I'm sure maybe if I dig around that district enough, somebody can say they saw something, but I didn't see anything. And I watch TV. I'm on the internet. Um, I look around my own damn neighborhood. I didn't see one flyer, nothing, just a complete blank slate. So yeah, that makes me want to run because I just hate the idea that people are entitled to win elections because the whole world endorses them or all these big politicians endorse them. Well, anyways, I'm gonna go off here, Aaron, because I woke up late and I gotta still run all these stupid errands. So I'm gonna try to get a drop on it. I'll be back on Saturday. So thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your morning and well, I guess not morning for you, but good rest of your day. See you.